I welcome you all with love. Today's Parsha is Ki Tisa. It's a pretty important Parsha describing really seminal events that has affected on Israel since that time. But I want to start with a few principles that came up with this before we talk about the main issue. So initially it says everyone should put in a half a shekel, whatever that is worth, but it was something that everyone could afford. The symbolism of the half a shekel at several points. First, it symbolizes that everyone is equal. They were moving from being individual to a collective whole idea, that we're part of a collective whole. Yet we're unique within that because everybody has their contribution. Also suggests, metaphorically, that most of the time we just have half the story of what's going on. So those are a few of the symbolisms of that. The most important, in a way, is the idea that we're unique individuals making our own contribution and part of a larger whole. That's how it starts. Another important piece in this is, again, the emphasis on Shabbat as being the key, sacred, holy, weekly event. And that's essential for living in the Torah ways. Is the great Torah way, is indeed to honor Shabbat. That's very, very important in the picture. Another aspect of this, which is kind of a sub-story going on, is that according to the Arizal, Noah had incarnated as Moses and had a chance to redeem himself, because Noah never really expressed and showed leadership. He just built the ark, did what he did, and didn't involve the uplifting of humanity, didn't involve the deep caring for his fellow human beings, and he was able to rectify or be rectified through Moshe's actions, which are extremely caring for all of Israel and uplifting and willing to sacrifice himself for the greater whole. These are very important issues. The fourth issue that gets a little deeper in this process is Moshe's question to Hashem, which is this how we progress? By you control everything, you make everything happen, and we had this golden calf, and you have created a universe that has evil in it. Is this what you're doing here? I mean, how come evil gets to make a mess out of things? And so Moshe is really asking an extremely deep question. It's not really challenging, but the question is very deep. How come that evil is part of your plan, since everything comes from you? Good comes from you, evil comes from you. How come? Most of the time Moshe in asking these questions gets, this is more than you can understand. However, if we look at it kind of backing up a little bit and look at the creation story, we get some explanation from a Kabbalistic point of view. What is that explanation? Initially, in the astral plane, in the world of Tohu, there was the breaking of the vessels when light was put into them. And those vessels broke, and as they shattered, they began to go into the physical plane and create multiple worlds. And at the very lower end of the multiple worlds becomes this three-dimensional world of the earth. And as the vessels broke, that evil was able to be incorporated in these lower worlds. Now, in the upper worlds, there's no space for evil. There's only God's will. But as we hit the lower worlds, two things happen. We have the ability to have free will, and we have evil. If we see the big picture, we see that Hashem put evil into this world so we would have an opportunity to express free will and make choices that could help us evolve spiritually. We see in this particular case in Ki Tisa is that people did have choices. They could worship the golden calf or they could choose not to. And as the story evolves, really, when Moses comes down the hill with the Ten Commandments, with the tablets, and he sees what's happened, and it breaks, and then he asks the question, who's with me? And only one out of the 12 tribes, the Levites, commit to being with him. So it does sort things out very quickly when you have choice, when you have free will choice. Now, that is really at least one explanation that's given, that there's a real importance to having free will. To do that, we had to go to lower levels of evolution. At the higher levels, there's only the will of God taking place. That's the key understanding. But then, there's not the opportunity for evolution. As we evolve spiritually, we do indeed evolve back to the place where we are simply the will of God unfolding, and the reality is, we understand is there really isn't any free will. But there's the illusion of free will in the world of Amr Shikra, which is the world of illusion. And so that is how we are able to make choices, we are able to be presented with choices that then, by making the elevating free will decision, we can grow spiritually. And that's really the answer to Moshe in that way. His mind and heart were so pure, it's like, why do we need this? But at the deeper level, I believe he did know and understand why we need this. Why we have to have that choice, why evil needs to be there for the evolution of human consciousness. So those are some of the points that need to be dealt with. Now the deeper question and the deeper issue is, how did this golden calf happen? What's going on that 40 days into it, or 39 days into this process where people are having crowns of glory and light above their head, they're immortal, they've been given the blessing of being immortal, they threw it all away by creating the golden calf. How did that happen? What's going on? And when we understand, again, only one tribe, the Levites, out of 12, even chose to be with Moshe, we should get a little bit of insight. And what's the insight? The insight is not everybody's ready for the non-dual oneness and non-concrete God energy that the Torah is bringing forth. Not everybody's ready to expand to that level of awareness. And so what do? When we're not ready to expand, is we get concrete again. We need our idols. We need something we can visually focus on. We need to put God in a box. We need the safety and security and the comfort of God in a box, which is the golden calf. We're not ready to walk up like Moshe, walk up the mountain into the unknown, into the understanding of God beyond our understanding, where it's not certain, it's not defined, it's not concrete. So the Torah that is being brought forth is asking people to do just that. Are you willing to walk up into the unknown? Are you willing to get out of your conceptual box? Are you willing to be open to the energies of grace in a way that can expand your consciousness, in a way that can take you to liberation? So the Erev Rav, which we like to blame, really are only successful because they are appealing to the Erev Rav in every person. That part that just wants to have the illusion of safety, security, concreteness, something we can grasp. We call that out of worship. That's what goes on today so much. And so the real issue that's brought up is, are we going to let the Erev Rav within ourselves dominate our spiritual evolution and in essence block our spiritual evolution? So can't be liberated if we're contained by our ego, contained by our Erev Rav. So the big question that's brought up here, that I'm highlighting, is not about some people creating a golden calf 3,000 plus years ago, but it's us. Are we willing to confront the Erev Rav within us that is willing to settle for, and I'm going to make this clear, the illusion of security, the illusion of safety, the illusion of concrete as that's what we think is concrete? Are we willing to give up the truth for that illusion? So may everyone be blessed that we have the spiritual courage to be like Moses and walk up the mountain into the unknown and have the power and belief in ourselves to not settle for the golden calf in our lives. Blessings to everyone. Shabbat Shalom.